Good evening, everyone. Welcome, Sensei Shinzan. You're on our big screen here in the Zendo. And in real life, you're just a stone's throw away in the casita, quarantining to come into the Zendo with us, which we really look forward to. But for now, we're content to receive the teachings from the screen, as with everyone on here. For those of you who are seeing the closed captions, if you wish to turn those off, you can just turn those off by hiding subtitle. If you click more and then hide subtitle. And then if you're on YouTube, you can also turn them on and off there. So Sensei Shinzan and I was going to say and all of us go way back. He's a long time recidivist of Upaya. Been coming here for, when did you first come here? 2006? Yeah, wow. Is your audio on there?
Yeah.
Cool. And I first met Shinzan in 2010 when I came for winter practice period. And he was the Shuso at the time, the head monk, head trainee. And he was just the kindest, laid back, but full of, kind of heart and wisdom. Heart Mountain is his name. And nothing's changed, basically, as far as how he embodies the heart way. And so I can't think of anyone better to kick us off on the Bodhisattva teachings than Sensei Shinzan. So thank you so much for being with us tonight and for the month.
Thank you, Noah. I think we are going to do the verse of the Dharma talk, or we go direct to the...
Yeah, we'll do the verse before the Dharma talk. Thank you for reminding me.
We vow to realize its true meaning. The Dharma is vast and subtle. We now have a chance to hear it, study it, and practice it. We vow to realize its true meaning. The Dharma is vast and subtle. We now have a chance to hear it, study it, and practice it. We vow to realize its true meaning.
Hello, everybody. Everybody can hear me well? Okay, good. Well, good evening, good afternoon, and maybe good morning. Thank you so much for joining us in Wednesday Dharma Talks here in Upaya, and also I'd like to thank to my teacher, Roshi John, and all the residents for holding the space and creating this beautiful practice period and the invitation to be here. Just when I was sitting, I was reflecting how so important is to study this text, the way of the Bodhisattva, or a guidelines of the Bodhisattva life, especially in these times, more than ever. So just doing a little recollection, or thinking back, it has been 1 year to be in this pandemic. And then we started last year in the spring practice period. and then I came. And now we continue doing it again. And so many things have happened, so many things in our lives and also in the whole world, and many changes. And I think this text is gonna inspire us. It's gonna help us to have a faith. And no, I'm talking about faith like a Catholic faith, it's just more faith in the practice and trust in your practice and trust in your basic goodness and the basic goodness of every human being, that we can turn things around and make a better way to live, a better place to be in. So the way, my talk is the way of a bodhisattva. I use the word the article, because it's our practice, it's our way how we can embody our lives for the benefit of ourselves and also for others. Something through the practice, you are gonna get in more sense what this practice is about, and also that concept of bodhisattva, of that ideal. And just for those who are new to Buddhism, bodhisattva is a Sanskrit word, and bodhi means awakening, and sattva means being. And bodhisattva in our tradition and our Mahayana Buddhism is for those beings they cultivate their practice for the benefit of others. It's not just more about individual practice or only to self-improvement practice or only about myself. It's more, I am practicing to benefit others. My life can be benefit for others. So, and where the bodhisattva ideal or archetypes comes from, just to getting back in the history of Buddhism, long time ago, it was only the early Buddhism. After the Buddha died, a few centuries more, and then later the monks they split. Some monks they went to South of Asia, and other monks went to the North of Asia, and that became their became two traditions, two very well-known traditions, the Theravada school and the Mahayana school, or Mahayana Buddhism, or Theravada Buddhism. And Mahayana Buddhism, it was based in this archetype and the bodhisattva practice, and the practice of compassion, and practice of altruism, and the practice of more to see the collective of practice, and then the awakening. That we can wake up, everybody can wake up at the same time. So,
sorry to interrupt. Sensei, sorry to interrupt your microphone. It sounds like your microphone is rubbing on your robe.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I am moving. So thank you. Yeah, so
thank you.
So and then that's what I come in the ideal of this bodhisattva. And the bodhisattvas, there are archetypes that help us in our practice. They are good for our psyche. So we have this representation, we have statues, we have painting. This is just to remind virtues or qualities of ourselves that each of us we have, and then that we need to cultivate, or we have to wake them up. So, so these archetypes, and the most, I want to mention the four great bodhisattvas, the four most popular in our practice are the Manjushi Bodhisattva. It usually is the statue in the main altar in our Sendo, in Upaya, and Dokanji. Usually is holding a sword, and then is a representation of wisdom. And these characteristics of cultivating of wisdom is the bodhisattva of the wisdom. And then we have the Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, It is the representation of compassion. And then Tibetan Buddhism, the Dalai Lama is one of these embodiments of this Avalokiteshvara, and their tradition, the Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. And then we have Jiso Bodhisattva. And Jiso is the great vow, is the Bodhisattva of the great vow, is the Bodhisattva who go into, the teaching says goes into the hell to save beings that are suffering. Is this, is the, I could say that is the, when we get into difficult times to help other people to overcome their suffering. So there's one like the great vow, the act of Jiso. In the last four Bodhisattva is this Samantabhadra. The Samantabhadra Bodhisattva is about the practice, the Bodhisattva of the practice. Remind us to really to the perseverance of this practice. And here, thinking and reflecting, where the first Bodhisattva come from? Who was the first Bodhisattva? They came into this earth. And I'm sure there were many people that has been acting as a Bodhisattva, but there was one that thanks to this man, to this human being, we are here. And that's the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha. So Shakyamuni Buddha, his act as a Bodhisattva it was when he woke up. When he woke up through the meditation under the Bodhi tree, looking the morning star and saying, I and all beings on this earth simultaneously, we are attending the way. And that act, it was totally based in compassion. And then what it came, like the Buddha understanding his experience, his awakening, he saw he thought and he reflected, I know I cannot teach what I have experienced. I cannot teach the experience, but I can teach the way how people can wake up. So when he gave the first sermon, that was the Bodhisattva act. Thanks to his compassion to see the suffering of many beings, to develop all these teachings, to start giving this medicine to release our suffering. So that is the first act, and then I think for me is the first Bodhisattva, this action of a Bodhisattva. Even when you read the historical text, they will tell you before that he was a Buddha, he was a Bodhisattva for many lifetimes, and he was this Bodhisattva, then that Bodhisattva, and he died and he come back. Yeah, okay, but just if you keep it more realistic, so that was the act that he became this first Bodhisattva. In our practice, in the beginning, it's really no easy to understand the practice is for others. And then I remember my practice, and then what brought me to this practice, it was my own suffering. And that time, I just wanted to understand myself, and I wanted to understand my mind, and I wanted to understand what I was suffering, what I was having all this stress. And that was looking for meditation practice. I never thought if somebody had told me, this practice is going to be for benefit for others, I would say, no, I just want benefit for myself. And that was my view in that time. And I remember when my first teacher used to come to Mexico to give talks and retreats, he was talking about this compassion practice. And then I asked the question, about why we have to benefit others. And then he answered, he said, well, now you are there and you are see that way. But with the practice, you're gonna be on this side and you will understand why. That's what he said. So this practice and then start, the practice of the Bodhisattva starts with the cultivating of bodhicitta. That's when our practice starts. When we bow to our cushion and we sit, that's what we have to recall. This cultivating this heart of bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is the quality of the heart. My awakening is for the benefit of others. To have this aspiration. And that aspiration is that aspiration holds the whole teachings of the Buddha, holds wisdom and holds compassion and bodhicitta. Wisdom because we are going to wake up. And what does it mean to wake up? It's just to see the reality, to see the truth. And what is the truth that we talk so much about? Is about that we are not separated. We are not separated. And what is that? There is no separation. Means to me that life is not up there. And also life is not inside. Life is everywhere. So I am life. So I belong to this life. So everything that we do, we have this tremendous sense of intimacy, of belong, and caring. And we care. There's no anymore this filter of me or them. So that is the awakening when we see the oneness of life, when we see this interconnection, or Thich Nhat Hanh used the word interbeing. When we see that, when we experience that, our view change. Our views change, and that the first thing is where it comes from. That is compassion action. Is to be compassionate, to have a life with the embodiment of compassion, and also we start taking care ourselves and others, the people that we love, so that they're going to be the first people that are going to be benefit from this practice. And how we cultivate this practice is through our relationships, through those connections. And that sense of, and the way that we continue practice, we are just convincing ourselves that this is completely truth. And then we start doing actions. We start act based on that wisdom and that compassion. So our life is no more selfish life. It's no more about me. It's only about me and my life. It's more about life of everything or everybody everywhere. So that is the cultivation of bodhicitta, of to see with that heart. But at the same time, we don't have to create a burden or feel obligated that we have to save all beings, or to be so obsessionate with our practice and to be perfectionist and to be nice and good Buddhist. It's not that. And here, to work with that, when sometimes can get like a burden for us, like a too much weight to handle. And then the key for this practice of the Bodhisattva is to remember the Diamond Sutra. And the first chapter or the first paragraph of the Diamond Sutra. The Diamond Sutra is a Mahayana Sutra, Mahayana text, when Buddha is talking to Subhuti. And basically delivering the teachings of the non-self or the sunyata of the teachings of emptiness. And then Subhuti asked the first question, how a bodhisattva should practice? Asking something like that, asking to the Buddha, no? Lord, how a bodhisattva should be practicing the way? And the answer of the Buddha say, first of all, Subhuti, those who think that they are bodhisattva, they are not really bodhisattva. That's the key. That's the key. As soon when we get into that we are doing this practice, when we identify with this archetype, or we identify with our life being a bodhisattva, we are moving away from it. We are moving from the truth of practice. So this practice, using some Catholic quotes or sayings, say what your right hand does, don't let your left hand know to know. So just you do it. Just you do it, completely selfless action, without expecting anything in exchange of this practice. And that is very, very hard. That's very hard practice because we are not getting used to. We are not getting used to this kind of mind, especially now. Always, what is the exchanges? What am I gonna get from this? What am I gonna get from this? Or sometimes when somebody gives us something or something for free, sometimes we say, oh, this person wants something from me as well. You know, we don't have that kind of the mind that connects us and to be connected anymore. So in this action, and everybody in this world, I have done actions as a bodhisattva. And it doesn't have to be huge, but sometimes an act of kindness we do with our friends. Or sometimes we have these conversations and we listen to the people, and sometimes we say a comment or we show empathy. And then for me, like an act of bodhisattva is sometimes people come to you and thank you and tell you, oh, you know, I remember you helped me this way or that way, or you told me this and that, and you don't remember. You don't remember that you did it, and you don't remember that you say it. So that's as good. That's as good. And instead, when sometimes we do something nice and want the approval of the other person, and the other person doesn't care about our actions, that's when we feel, you know, we feel more, you know. But anyway, just I give you some kind of tips, you know, and then that's when your practice shows up. When you don't remember that you did good, you know, and people start appreciating about your kindness or how helpful you were in that moment that they need you. So that's some ordinary examples of the Bodhisattva. And just getting close to my talk. So this time that we are going to spend together, we are very, very lucky to have very well-known teachers and very wise in exploring this test. And the way how we set out the talks, it was just talking, you know, putting apart and go deep in each chapter of the Shantideva work. And then our practice as a Buddhist practice, as a Buddhist practitioner, and our practice is the Four Noble Truths. That's why we is our core of our practice, the Eightfold Path. But sometimes it's not so clear, and we need more tools, you know, to continue this practice. And Shantideva, and also coming from the Buddha's teachings, comes these 6 paramitas. or the 6 perfections. We call the 6 perfections, the 6 parameters. Then there are teachings and guidelines to really more to help us along the way, to really continue motivate us, inspire us to do this practice and where we need to work. So in Shantideva writing through these 6 parameters and explaining and putting in verse. So we are gonna visit them and we are exploring, and that's gonna be inspiration for us to do our practice. And the 6 parameters that are key in our practice in the Bodhisattva way. And the first one is generosity. I'm just gonna name it, generosity. And the second is ethics. And the third is patience. The 4, energy or perseverance. And then meditation, practice of meditation and wisdom. And through those teachings, we build resilience in our practice. Because this practice, if you see just what I mentioned, it is going to be quite obvious. The first one with generosity, to be generous, and then we need to start giving this generosity practice to be generous in our practice. How much I dedicate in my life to cultivate myself. How much time we can, and the minimum thing that we can give to this is time, and this is so important. And that is a practice of generosity, to sit every day, to sit in the morning, to sit in the evening, to have some time to cultivate this practice. That's an act of generosity. And the ethics, and the ethics is just very obvious, to start having an ethical life, that we can not create too much karma, and that way we can sit with more stable mind. The practice can really grow in a fertile soil. If we don't cultivate ethics, nothing is gonna work. Nothing is gonna work. It's almost like being in a loop and try to go somewhere. So we don't live, we're spinning around and around. And patience, that's important. And then I think I'm gonna give a talk about patience in this time. And then perseverance, a lot of perseverance in this practice. It's a long way, and then step by step. And meditation, there is our core, our key, and wisdom. They come together with the meditation, is the outcome of our practice. So this is the way of a bodhisattva. About these teachings, the key is about the embodiment of these qualities of a bodhisattva, the embodiment of these six perfections, the embodiment of these archetypes of the bodhisattva, the compassion archetype, the wisdom, the great practice, and the great vow. And then sometimes I share with people about only you have to have one vow. We say the 4 vows, no, the 4 great bodhisattva vows, but only keep one vow into your heart. They always you come back to return to that vow, the personal vow, personal intention or personal aspiration. Only one. That everything that we do can reduce into that. Like cultivating bodhicitta is a beautiful sentence that we can remember. I can do this practice for to wake up for the benefit of others. And everything that I do in my life to remember that. All my actions to wake up myself for the benefit of others. So if we can cultivate that vow, just we can reduce our own suffering, and also we can reduce a lot of problems in our lives. So this is what I have for you tonight. And I hope they can be inspired to you. And then it's such a wonderful test, like I say, the way of Bodhisattva, and to remember our path or practice that what we are here. Thank you. And then I hope to see you at some point.
Shinzan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, since we have a few minutes right now, if you would be open to taking some questions from the people in our practice community. And maybe
yes,
you can help that happen with people raising hands and everything.
Yeah.
So if anyone would like to ask a question or make a comment to Shinzan, you can go ahead and raise your hand by pressing the reactions button on the bottom of your screen or in the more category on a mobile device, and I'll call on you. You could also, I'll turn on the chat, and if you have anything you want to ask or say there, you can also put it into the chat to everyone publicly.
Don't be shy. Wonderful. Sarah.
Let's see. Okay, go ahead and try to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go. Oh, Irene?
Hi.
This is Sarah.
Oh, Sarah. Okay.
Sarah first, because I called on you first. Go ahead, please.
Okay.
So, Shinzan, I was wondering if you would just talk a little bit about how it came to you experientially that this practice was more than just to end your suffering. Can you just talk about the transition and how that awakened, bodhicitta awakened within you? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Exactly, I don't remember when it was the transition, but one thing that I really remember, before I did this residential training, so I did so many jobs in my life, working and so many things, but there was a little insatisfaction in my heart. And the only thing that really filled my heart, it was when I was doing retreats, and then when I was with the Sangha. So that's what I decided to do, a residential training. And then started doing, when I did my practice in Toronto, I started just feeling, complete, and a lot of fulfillment living in La Sangha. And then later I came to Paya, just more joy. And just like to be in Upaya for many years, and working for, we had our Samu practice, doing retreats, but providing the support for all the people that were crossing the doors in Upaya, that what made me really happy. So that's what I realized, the washing dishes, cleaning the floor, open the door, and things that we do in Upaya and the Samu is changing the life of other people. So my satisfaction, my most satisfaction is when people were leaving Upaya with a smile. And a weekend, so that's it. That's what I decided to do this full time. Now I am here.
Thank you. My question is your comment about waking up for others. If you could say a little bit more about that. Shinzan, in the Bodhisattva vow, I get a little, if you're supposed to not really think about others, how this waking up for others. I don't quite have the question.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost I answered this, but I can put it with that sample, you know, is the practice. First of all, the first person who's going to benefit from this practice is you, because you are doing the practice. It's not going to be a question. You are going to be the benefit. But because you have a relationship with other people is going to be benefit of your peace of mind, you know, or your kindness, or your wisdom, and the way how you are. So through the relationship, you are going to start benefit others.
I see.
That's how you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Sarah. Sabra?
That's right. That's Sabra. Thank you. Thank you for your talk. It really stirs up a lot in my heart and my head. You know, as I was a small child, I remember asking the question, how do you help people? Because I was aware of a lot of unhappiness around me, you know, my own and others. You know, how do you actually help? And I'm a social worker, and I worked with hospice for 20 years, and I'm in private practice right now. And I've learned a lot, but I'm still asking that question, how to help. I think you said a little bit of it, you know, is to just care, that you care. And that's where the connection is we all care. My question is, I'm aware of, on one hand, I'm doing what I'm doing because of who I am. And on the other hand, I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to be praised and acknowledged and appreciated. I want to be one of the good guys. You know, I want that. And yet they exist at the same time in the same space. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, what do you do with that?
I still figure out.
You're still working on it?
Yeah, we are going to be, you know, it's not clear. It's not really clear action, but through the practice and to develop more wisdom, and also it's going to impact your level of your compassion. So, and then in my own practice in the beginning, it was to help people, to save people, but sometimes I was not saving me, you know, or sometimes to fix people, you know, or sometimes to say what suppose is right to people, and we learn, and then we have to do the opposite, and that is the paradox of Zen. When if you remember what I was saying in my talk about the Diamond Sutra, no, the Subhuti asked to the Buddha, how about Bodhisattva? You know, how Bodhisattva should be practicing or acting, and then the Buddha say, for those who think they are Bodhisattvas, they are not really Bodhisattvas. So that's it, how you help without not helping. So it's the paradox of Zen. So that's the way how we move. And then we learn to trust, you know. And sometimes we don't have to do anything. Sometimes we just to be there, to be present for others.
Right. To just
show. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Sabra, and our other questioner. And so happy you're back here, Shinzan.
Thank you, Roshi.
I love how you say, Upaya has been closed now for a year. So those of us who are residents here, we've been taking care of each other wonderfully, but there's something so powerful about the people who come through our temple doors and, whether it's mopping the kitchen floor or opening the door for people, helping people to their rooms. There's something that is just so uplifting in understanding that people who come to a place like this, just like those of us who are here in this practice period, come because we want to cultivate the attitude of a bodhisattva. We see the truth of suffering and we do not turn away from it. And that is why we are drawn to places such as this. And I'm so glad that you came.
Me too.
It changed Upaya, and I think it also changed you. So yep. We love you so much. I see Andreas Tenryu. Hello, Tenryu, who's a chaplain at Johns Hopkins. We need to unmute Andreas.
Hi, Roshi. Nice to see you. I wanted to ask a question to Shinzan. If there's a distinction between bodhisattvas and what other traditions, for example, in Christianity, they call them angels, or tomorrow I'm having a conversation about the label to the healthcare workers as heroes. So is a bodhisattva, is there a distinction between, is a bodhisattva a hero? Is it considered an angel? All these other labels that we throw around, how does the bodhisattva fit into that?
Yeah, there are no angels, so you can consider them, it's, I think, very subjective. There are no saints. It's just archetypes. They help us to mirror our qualities that we have, And then the Bodhisattva is a beautiful story because it's very similar to the hero journey, the myth of the hero. Yeah.
Andres, I would want to ask you, because you are working in the COVID unit at Hopkins, what do you feel and what do your colleagues feel? Do you feel like heroes or angels, or what?
I can talk about myself, and maybe I can speak for others. I think we feel as very ordinary people.
Yeah.
We don't feel as anything extraordinary, as a hero or any other super label out there. It's very ordinary feeling.
What do you think of that, Shinzan?
That's the right answer. We are just ordinary beings. But we play, we play with that. It's the paradox. They help us to go through.
Well, I thank you both. I know that Shinzan, you've just come from Mexico, and Andreas, you're in the middle of one of the biggest hospitals in the world, and also working with people who are seriously ill. And Shinzan's has just been through a really profound loss. So, and we all share the experience of loss at this time. And we can ask how in the midst of loss, in the midst of grief, we can uphold and nourish our bodhisattva attitude. So I think just ending with that question. And I so love what you said, Andreas, ordinary. And you reflected that, Shinzan, ordinary, just everyday mind. So we conclude this afternoon's meditation and Dharma talk. Noaji, we gather again for sitting at 7:45. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. And I just wanted to plug for, so tomorrow we'll have an Enzo at 11, or sorry, at 2:30, where we'll meet each other and discuss some things. But somebody had asked, I think it was Elizabeth, about Shantideva, who wrote the Bodhisattva Way of Life. And Roshi will be giving the talk on Friday at 11. And that will be, I think, focused on the life of Shantideva. So,
I hope so.
yes, yeah, well, we'll see. But we'll chant the Bodhisattva vows now and see everyone in an hour and 15 for evening Zazen. Thank you, Sensei Shinzan and Roshi.
Thank you.
Creations are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless, I vow to perceive it. The awakened way is unsurpassable, I vow to embody it. Creations are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless, I vow to perceive it. The awakened way is unsurpassable, I vow to embody it. Creations are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless, I vow to perceive it. The awakened way is unsurpassable,